Hi everyone. So in this video we are going to be looking at sorting in SQL. Now sorting in SQL is done using the order by clause, right? And it allows you to sort the result set of a query by one or more columns. Now there's something we need to know, right? We can sort by in ascending order and also in descending order, right? Very important. Now we are going to show basic sorting, right? Just to sort by one column and then we'll see how it turns out to be, right? Now it says basic sorting, ascending order, to sort the result set by a single column in an ascending order. This is the syntax. This is basically the syntax. But instead of talking, let's head over to our DBMS SQLite and then we'll show all this, right? So let's head over to our DBMS. Now, so let's say we want to sort. Okay, the topic for today is sorting in SQL, right? And then, so we want to basically do a basic sorting, right? Which is basically sorting by one column. To have that, so I will show everyone how to do that. Let's just copy paste. So paste. Oh, now we can as well do let's do a multiple line commenting. So right, remember guys, I told in our previous videos I've showed us how to comment by single line, right? So let's say, because all this is like our basic syntax, this is not what we are going to be using, but it's going to be like a guide, right? And we basically don't want this to run, right? But instead of coming to do single line commenting, come here also to do single line commenting, no, it's going to be hectic. So why don't we use a multiple line commenting? And how you do that is by using a vertical bar or a slant bar and then your asterisk button, right? So you comment everything, right? So we can also come here to close this commenting so it will not affect other ones, right? It will not affect, let's say I want to use my order by clause, right? I can come here and close this asterisk and then, right, if you notice, it has commented all this out, leaving this other one, right? We are not interested in that. Let's come here to close our multiple line commenting. Go, then we go our vertical bar. See? So now we have what we want. So let's say we want to, our ask is to sort by, or rather sort by, or before we do that, let's go to let's check the table that would help us simplify this syntax, right? So let's go to our browse data and then let's see album. Okay, we can use this table. We can sort the album table with the title column, right? So the idea is we want to sort this table so that all the titles that begins with A would be first row, followed by the titles that begins with B, followed by the title of albums that begins with C, right? Just like in an ascending order, right? Instead of a descending order. And remember we said default, right? Default wise, when you try to sort with your order by clause, your SQL sorts it in an ascending order, default wise, right? So now we've agreed that we want to sort our album table, go back to execute SQL, and then we'll write our ask sort, or rather sorting by album. Sorting by album title, right? Yep. So yeah. So for we to do that, let's follow our guide. It says select column 1. So let's say our column 1 is our column 1 should be, let's check, our column 1 is album ID, right? Do select column 1, or rather album ID, sorry. Album ID, this is it. Then comma, column 2 is what? Column 2 should be title, right? And then from what table, press my enter, from our albums table, right? So I'm using this as a guide, guys. So from our album table, and then order by, anytime you want to sort, remember your order by clause, very important. Order by, so I want to sort by, in this case, instead of column 1, our column 1 is album ID, right? But I want to sort by the title, so I'm not going to use my column 1, right? So I'll do order by title. Now, once I put this and I run all this, see, notice that we now have A, right? A, B, 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 all the titles that have B, 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 then C, then D, right? So it's sorting the table with the title column in an ascending order by default, right? Guys, remember that we did not fix in any keyword here. We did not fix in any keyword called ASC or DESC, right? That's why it's sorting by default in an ascending order, right? So let's say I come here and I say, okay, I want to sort this table by the title column so that when my titles have Z, right, begins with Z, I will see them as the first row, right, all the way down in a descending order, right? I can come here and do DSC keyword and then highlight, right? And then you see, voila, we have Z, W all the way down to T, S all the way down to E, right? So we are sorting by descending order, right? Descending order in the titles column, right? It's that easy. So if we don't fix this, right, our SQL will understand that we are sorting by title in an ascending order. So now let's say I basically don't want to select the columns. I want to see all columns, even if I'm sorting by title. I'll come and clean that or erase that, and then I'll put my asterisk. Select all from album table, but please sort by title in a descending, or rather in an ascending order. So I'll highlight. See, all my columns are showing because I said I want all columns to show with this asterisk, right? Album ID, title, and then artist ID. But hey, it is sorting in an ascending order with our title column. So that's it. So it's as simple as that. Remember the keyword ASC, DSC when you want to sort in an ascending or descending order. And then remember that you need to use order by to sort by different columns. But in this case, we are sorting by one column. Right? So now let's go to our classroom. We've been able to showcase sorting by one column and then ascending order and also descending order. Now let's try to showcase sorting by multiple columns, right? So for us, it says you can also sort by multiple columns, right? When sorting by multiple columns, the result set is first sorted by the first column and then by the second column within the sorted first column. So guys, don't get confused. We are going to see all this in our DBMS, right? It says, but the key takeaway here is, it says the result set, the final result is first sorted by the first column that you'll be listing in your order by statement, and then by the second column within the sorted first column. So guys, let's head over to our DBMS and then let's showcase this. But before then, I think I need to highlight this so it will be like our guide. Then I think we need to do let's paste this, and then do our multiple line commenting as usual, slant, and then this, and then we need to close it, and then this, yeah. So sort by column 1 in ascending number, so we can call this, sorting by multiple columns, and then we can call this call this sorting by one column, so it will be easier to understand, right? You see, so with all these notes and all this commenting, we understand what we are trying to do, right? So it's very important that you understand commenting. It's very, very important. So now, so before, how do we now showcase this so that everybody will understand what it means by this, what we are trying to say with this, right? This statement where it says, when sorting by multiple columns, the result set is first sorted by the first column and then by the second column within the first sorted column. Let's check for a table that is going to make us use this. I'm not sure we can use our album table. think we have a table called invoice, right? So let's say we want to first of all sort our invoice table by our billing cities, right? So that we'll see the billing cities that has A, right, where the city starts from A, begins with the letter A, all the way to letter Z, right, in an ascending order. And then within that billing city, the cities that has or have A's as their first letters, we want to be able to sort their total invoice in a descending order. I hope that makes sense. But let's visualize it. Let's work on it, right? So we say we want to be able to sort by billing city and then by total invoice in a descending order. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So remember, our guide is this, right? We need to do select. So instead of saying we want, so let's go back to our browse data. This is our table, right? Instead of saying I want just column 1, column 2, and then column 3, right? I want to see everything. I want to see all the columns, even if I'm sorting by billing city and also by total, right? So I'm not going to use this guide. I'm going to say I want everything SQL, right? Select everything, all the columns regardless. Then from where? From my invoice table, right? And then remember, order by, this is where we want to sort, right? So our first sorting is we want to sort by billing city in an ascending order. So we want all our billing cities that starts from the letter A to be visible. Then before it moves to the letter B, before it moves to letter C, right? We do order by billing city. Right? So I'm not putting anything. Remember, default wise, if you don't fix ASC or DESC, you understand that you want to sort this title or rather this column in an ascending order. I want to put comma. Then the next thing I want to sort is our total, right? Total column. Then we want to sort it in a descending order. So we do descending. And then we use our semicolon and then let's run this. Now guys, notice something. Notice, we now have that, we have our result to say our billing city. Yes, guys, you see, you can see that we now have every column corresponding to this sort, right? We now have all billing cities that starts from A, Amsterdam, we have Bangalore, we have Berlin, Buenos Aires, Chicago, Copenhagen. So you see, it's sorting them from A all the way to Z. That's the first sort that we did in an ascending order, right? Now, we now said, okay, within this first sort, right? Within these billing cities that we've sorted, please, we want to get the total of these billing cities in descending order. That is what we meant by it will sort, and then by the second column within the first sorted column, right, guys? Now, we basically have Amsterdam, but within these Amsterdam records, right, we have different totals. Now, please, what this second sort means that, please, within Amsterdam, we want to see the highest total within the billing cities that are Amsterdam. So it goes and it brings the highest total as the first row, semi-highest total as the second row, third highest total as the third row, right, in Amsterdam that we sorted initially. Right? That's the meaning of this statement. Right? The result set is first sorted by the first column, which is the billing city, and then by the second column, which is the total within the billing city first sorted column. I hope that makes sense. So instead of having all this column, I can just say, okay, for us to visualize this better, I can say I want to just see my billing city, my total, because that is what I'm interested in. And then let's say I want to also see my invoice ID. And if you are observant, you will notice that our invoice ID, sorry, I don't know, my system just hanged. I don't know why is that, yeah, we have that. So if everybody is observant, you will notice that even all the sorts that we did is affecting other columns. If you notice, our invoice ID is now showing us that, oh, the invoice that has an ID 390, right, and also that stays in, or that was invoiced in the billing city Amsterdam, has the highest total invoice, which is 13.86, right? So it's so far you are sorting by other columns get affected, right? Now, so let's say I don't want to see all this because I'm just interested in seeing my billing city, my total, and then my invoice ID column. So you see, I've selected all the columns that I need in my select statement. Then I'll highlight. If you notice that I'm even selecting the line that we commented out, right? And that's the beautiful thing about commenting. It's SQL will understand that, oh, you don't want this to run, right? Because we commented this line, right? It's saying, what's the error? Okay, saying no such column as billing city. Why? So that's the error. I think I did not spell it well. Okay, I think that's the error. So this is the billing city here. So let me run it again. I've corrected it. I think I did BILIING. Yeah. You see? So remember that initially we had a lot of columns, but now I've been able to select the columns that are interested, that I want to see, right? Which is what we did here, right? This, which is part of the guide, right? You just selected 3 columns that are interested, that you want to basically see in our final results, right? Which is what we did: invoice ID, billing city, and total, right? And if you notice, we've been able to sort this table, our invoice table, by the billing city in an ascending order, and then the total column in a descending order. But this total column is dependent on our billing city column, right? So for each Amsterdam, he goes through and check within all the Amsterdam billing city which city has the highest total, right? So, and he brings it here as the highest, because remember we said we want to sort the total column in a descending order. So that's basically it, right? I'm sure we are learning a lot. I'm so excited, and I hope that everyone is excited as well. So let's go back to our classroom, and I think the last one is sorting with aliases. This is very, very simple, and it's very important, right? So now, guys, let's say, so before I do that, our normal routine, let's copy paste, so to seem as if it's our guide. Copy paste, and then we do our multiple line commenting. So I'm doing this, guys. This is not needed, it's not necessary, but I'm just doing this so that when you have your script, it will be easier for you to, like a guide, right, where you can read through and also just input your query. So if you don't want to do this, it's fine. So I'm going to do this again, but at least we'll be able to understand what commenting means. So sorting with aliases. So it says, if you are using column aliases in your select statement, you can also use those aliases in the order by clause. So now let's say, guys, let's say we do the same thing. We also just do the same thing that we did here. Let's say we do the same thing that we did here. Select all, right, from invoice table, right, and then, yeah, let's just say we have this. So we want to see everything in our invoice table, right? So guys, we have everything without sorting. And if you notice, because we did not sort, we are seeing billing state, billing city just scattered, right? Unlike how we sorted initially. So now let's say this total, let's say in our I'm just giving a scenario, right? Our data entry official made a mistake when he was computing the total invoice amount, right, for each invoice ID. He did everything short of €20 or $20 or 20 naira, as the case may be, right? So all these figures that we are seeing here are short of 20, right? Let's say we now notice this and we want to be able to get our main total column, right, instead of this total column. So for we to do that, there are calculations that we can do. We call this basic calculation, right? We will treat all this as we move on. The calculations we can do in our select statement to help us get that new column, right? Where our 20 euros or $20 or 20 naira will be factored in, right? So now for we to do that, we can come and say, we can say select all, and then, right, our total, we now want to multiply this by 20 euro, right? So I can do total, or you want to add it by 20 euro, depending. So I'm just giving you guys, a scenario, right? Depending on the case. So let's say I want to multiply this total column by 20 euros so that we get our main total column. But I'll do total multiply by 20, right? That's all. Because our total column, this is it, but I want to multiply each row record by 20. So we'll have it updated as our main total. So if I do this and run it, see, guys, notice that we now have another column called total by 20 or total multiply by 20, right? Which has given us our main total column. Now, if I now want to do everything that we've done, right, where we sorted by billing city and then we also sorted by total, right? But in this case, we will no longer use this total. We will use our total multiplied by 20 column, right? So we can still do it. We could do order by billing city, and then remember we sorted by ascending order, right? Then we do so total by 20 and then descending order. Let's see what will happen, right? And we close this, then we run it. See, so it still works, right? But guys, where this alias, so I'm trying to make you guys understand what this alias means, right? We've done it before, but I want to just explain more. So where what this alias helps us to do is, if you notice, our description of this column is not really descriptive enough, guys, right? So what we can do is we fix in an alias, we call it as, right? Instead of our result to have this column total multiplied by 20, which is basically the calculation we did underneath, right? You can just say, okay, total multiplied by 20, please let's call it our main total, right? And then when we are also sorting, we can also use that newly named column to sort as well, main total, right? So if I run this, watch what will happen, guys. See, so we now have a well-defined column, main total, and also we sorted with that column as well, which is what this description says. It says if you are using column aliases or rather column aliases in your select statement, you can also use those aliases in the order by clause, right? Which is what we did. We used our alias, right? We named this total multiplied by 20 as our main total column, and then we also use this named or this alias column to also sort. Right? That is basically it. And this is like a repetition of what we did initially. But hey, we now understand what aliases means, right? Aliases helps us to better define our columns, right? Let's say you've done a calculation in your select statement, you can give it a name that better defines that calculation, right? So that is basically what aliases mean. So in this video, we've been able to cover a lot. We've been able to cover basic sorting. We sorted by one column, right? Then we did an example, we sorted by album titles. Then we sorted by multiple columns, and then I showed you how to sort by billing city and then by total invoice, also in the descending order. Then we also sorted using aliases. So thank you for sticking by me up to this time, and I will see you in the next one.